It is the 3rd of March 2014. Many thanks for joining us on Ebru African News this afternoon. I'm Kamene Goro. Now we start off our bulletin in Kenya, where Kingori Tom Wanderi from Alliance Boys High School emerged the top candidate in last year's Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examinations. Now Alo Shem from Maranda High School and Kivuva Angela from Moi High School in Nakuru came in 2nd and 3rd position respectively. During the release of the results at Mtihani House in Nairobi today, Educationist Cabinet Secretary Jacob Kamene noted a slight improvement in the KCSE performance last year. Moving to West Africa, twin bomb blasts in the northeast Nigerian city of Maiduguri killed at least 46 people on a Saturday evening. Witnesses and officials said in a further setback to President Goodluck Jonathan's military campaign.
In a separate incident around 50 kilometers away, dozens of gunmen have razed a farming village, shooting dead another 39. Residents of Maiduguri on Sunday gathered on site to assess the damage and clean up the wreckage.
A bomb exploded, and when we came out to help, another one exploded and several people died. About 20 minutes later, we picked up to 50 corpses. 80 people were sent to Umaru Shehu General Hospital. Enough is enough. We are ready to take up whatever it takes in order to protect ourselves. Since we have called up the security people and they are unwilling to help us, enough is enough.
The attacks will heap pressure on Jonathan, whose intensified military push to end the sect Boko Haram's 4.5-year-old insurgency has been running for almost a year. While the bloodshed has not diminished, the army had at least some success in confining it to remote rural areas in recent months. Boko Haram, which has killed thousands, becomes the biggest threat to security in Africa's top oil producer, increasingly targeting the civilian population. Western governments are concerned about Nigerian groups such as Boko Haram linking up with Al-Qaeda-linked cells in other countries in the Sahel region such as Mali, where France sent troops a year ago to oust militants who had seized control.
Moving to North Africa, newly appointed Egyptian Prime Minister Ibrahim Maleb has urged a halt to protests that have marred Egypt in recent times. Now, the premier challenged Egyptians to concentrate more on rebuilding their country after years of mass confusion.
Barely a week after being named Egypt's Prime Minister, Ibrahim Maleb seems to have taken over the reins. The premier made it clear that stabilizing the country's security and economy is part of his main agenda for the ailing country. He called upon the Egyptians to work together in upholding peace in the country.
I call upon you with all my heart to stop any kind of sittings, protests and strikes. Let us start building the country. Let us start building the country. I completely understand the pressures of the country and the needs of living. I realize that there are some issues that requires an immediate response with a new vision and in an expeditious manner.
Maleb, who laid out his government's plan in his first news conference in Cairo, promised to ensure the country goes back to normalcy. He assured Egyptians of a victorious win to the battle against terrorism, not only for them, but for the entire region.
The battle Egypt is facing against the powers of evil and terrorism is not only in defense of Egyptian interests and its security. It is also a battle we are fighting on behalf of the entire region. We will be victorious in this battle, God willing.
Maleb took over from former Prime Minister Hazem El-Bablawi, who surprisingly resigned last week after being in office for only 7 months. The sudden resignation has not been explained, but there has been widespread speculation that it was related to increasing labor protests and strikes.
In the wake of the Syrian crisis and international efforts to quell the tragic bloodshed, new graphic amateur video purports to show the deadly aftermath of an airstrike in the Idlib province.
Bodies dangle in plumes of smoke as locals hurry to the rescue. This amateur video that Reuters cannot independently verify purports to show the aftermath of a government airstrike on the town of Idlib. It caused a number of casualties, but an exact death toll is uncertain. A boy is among the wounded in a country engulfed in the flames of war. No one is giving up the fight as rebel forces take aim at forces loyal to President Bashar al-Assad. Rights groups say some 250 people were killed in Syria on Saturday alone, with civilians, rebels, and government forces all among the dead. And there are few signs of relief in Syria's nearly 3-year-long civil war. While the UN passed a resolution to provide further aid access within Syria last month, for some it is already too late.
In Kyiv, Germany, Latvia, and the United States, protesters condemn Russia's move to send troops to Ukraine. But a pro-Putin march in Moscow supports the decision.
Russia's decision to send troops to the Ukrainian region of Crimea is drawing condemnation from protesters around the world. From Germany,
one can simply not accept that a despot like Putin is actually eating up Crimea, or even more, just as if it was a bloody steak that he is consuming. One has to say, stop, you won't get any further. I'm sorry.
To Latvia,
everything happens now the same way it was done by Hitler and Stalin in 1939. It is all the same.
To the United States.
Any nationality that surrounds Russia should be concerned about this development, because it shows that Russia is very assertive. It becomes more and more confident that the West will let it go with its aggressive plans, with its assertiveness.
And in Ukraine itself, thousands turned out on the streets in Kiev to protest, including former Georgian President Mikhail Saakashvili.
This military operation not only puts Crimea and the east in danger, but also Kiev. But this enemy does not know how heroic and strong you are. He does not know what patriots of your land you are. Putin's dreams will collapse against the city walls of your hero city, Kiev.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, thousands take to the streets in a pro-Putin march. They're backing Russian President Vladimir Putin's decision to send troops to Ukraine.
We came here to support our president, our government, and our brotherly Ukrainian people. We want them to decide their own fate by themselves, but decide calmly, not amid a civil war, but in a calm and peaceful way, according to their constitution.
Russian forces have already bloodlessly seized Crimea, an autonomous region with a majority ethnic Russian population.
Star Olympian Oscar Pistorius faces a possible life sentence when he goes on trial accused of murdering his girlfriend in a Valentine's Day shooting that shocked the world. Now, Pistorius is expected to argue that he shot his 29-year-old lover, Riva Steenkamp, through a locked toilet door at his home, believing that she was an intruder.
Preparing to face the courts and the cameras once again. Oscar Pistorius goes on trial on Monday, accused of murdering his girlfriend Riva Steenkamp on Valentine's Day last year. The double amputee claims he shot her by accident, firing at her through the toilet door because he believed she was an intruder. But prosecutors accused Pistorius of premeditated murder, claiming neighbours heard arguing earlier in the night and the sounds of a woman screaming.
There's very limited circumstances where someone can actually take preemptive action and shoot somebody behind a closed door when they can't identify the nature and the seriousness of the threat.
Without eyewitness accounts, ballistic and forensic evidence will be key. And so too will Pistorius' own testimony on the stand.
The crunch will be whether he'll be able to give a version that's reasonably possibly true within the confines of whatever has been proven by the state.
Without a jury to influence, the court has allowed parts of the trial to be televised live, to the delight of the world's media.
We're absolutely thrilled. This is a seminal judgment. It's precedent-setting. It's a victory for open justice. We couldn't be happier.
The trial has been set down for 3 weeks, but it's likely to last longer as teams of lawyers weigh in. If Pistorius is convicted of culpable homicide, unintentionally killing his girlfriend, he could walk away with a suspended sentence. But if he's found guilty of murder, he faces 25 years behind bars.
Thousands of protesters, some donning carnival costumes, marched through Caracas as opposition groups continue to call for change in Venezuela.
Not even the Carnival holiday stops thousands from protesting in Venezuela. Instead, demonstrators brought the holiday's festive colors with them to the streets of Caracas, demanding change.
We're protesting because we want the same Venezuela from 15 years ago. We lost our liberty. The youth can't enjoy being out in the streets. We can't go skating. We can't go out anymore because the crime is doing us in.
Protests against President Nicolas Maduro have been ongoing for nearly a month. Grievances include political repression, high inflation, a shocking rate of violent crime, and basic food shortages.
I'm coming here to protest because I simply feel the need to. And it's not just me, but rather all Venezuelans. We need a future, we need to study, because the truth is that there are no jobs, and that isn't possible. I think that things really need to change.
Maduro has accused the opposition of trying to stage a coup. At least 17 people have died in post-protest clashes.
Bangladesh's tanneries produce leather for fashion brands around the world, but the environmental cost of the global demand for cheap shoes is on full display in Dhaka, where the industry's toxic waste is killing the city's main river and making workers permanently sick.
Inside this drum is a cocktail of toxic chemicals used to turn raw hides into soft leather. This is one of hundreds of tanneries in the Bangladeshi capital Dhaka, exporting leather for shoes to be sold mostly in the West, Japan and China. But on the tannery floor, workers given minimal protective gear suffer to earn their living.
My arms and legs feel itchy all the time. The skin around my nails go bad, my hair falls out. My body has developed an allergy. Those who have allergies are even more affected by all this.
A study has shown 90% of workers in the tannery industry have diseases, ranging from asthma to cancer, due to chemical exposure. And residents are also exposed. 22 million litres of toxic waste are dumped into the city's main river every day. And in the tannery district, the river is now biologically dead.
The ways the tannery industries are operating here in Bangladesh would perhaps suggest that it is a lawless state. The reasons could be political, that the political government doesn't want to upset the business community. An additional factor could be some underhand dealing.
This shoe manufacturer adheres to environmental standards, making footwear for major Western brands, Macy's and Jones Bootmaker. Its owner says ensuring a better safety record is in the country's best interests.
We cannot go on with the race to the bottom, which is where you work with people who don't care anything about but the price. Even at that level, we are seeing much more higher levels of consciousness and awareness in terms of environmental compliance. So I think it's in the interest of Bangladesh long term for the leather industry to attract the kind of buyers who will work with us to improve the working standards and environmental standards of our production.
But so far, rampant pollution and terrible working conditions aren't deterring foreign buyers. Business is booming, and leather is Bangladesh's fastest growing export, worth around $500 million a year. With growth in demand for cheap footwear showing no sign of slowing down, the industry is facing little pressure to ease its ecological footprint.
In sports, defending champions Baldev Singh Chagger, navigated by Ravi Soni in a Mitsubishi Evo X, racked up his maiden win of the season as the dust finally settled on the KCB Machakos rally. Second overall was Rabji Rai, followed by Jasmeet Chana in third. Now this was a career best for both podium finishers in an event marked by upsets galore. The county of Machakos was a hub of energy and activity as the KCB Kenya National Rally Championship came into town on the second leg of an 8-round series that is bound to see extreme sports tour the country.
This is our second season. Yeah, so the whole of last year and this year this is our first rally. It's okay. We're having fun, we're enjoying, we're learning a lot, meeting people. Yeah, it's a good experience.
Victory in the county of the moment gave the Flying Sick back-to-back wins in the Kenya Motorsports second round, which he won in Kajiado last year. Now, Chager, who won 3 rallies last year, had his campaign effectively sewn up when co-favorites Carl Tundo and Ian Duncan retired in the CS5 and CS1 respectively. Tundo, who won last month's Malindi rally, ended his interest with a blown turbo, while Duncan cited heavy civilian traffic in the opening stage as his reason for withdrawal. Tundo led the rally after the first stage, but Chager nosed ahead in the CS5 following his rival's woes.
Not so bad. Although in the first section it was so rough, and in fact 2 cars rolled, but we are lucky enough. So somebody helped, so told us to slow down, and we made it.
Now, Sunday's race saw some of the top contenders fall by the wayside. Issa Amwari retired on the Transport Road section in the Ulu en route to Tumaini School Service Park when he hit a bump and damaged the Evo 9 sump guard. Car number 28 of White and Zioka and Laban Cliff in an ex-Ben Mushemi Evo 9 retired with gearbox problems. Hardeep Resi had a good run in the morning session but had his run impeded by a puncture. Joe Mushiri in a Subaru GC8 and Hussein Malik in an Evo 6 rolled after hitting a culvert on the same spot at the end of the 8.45-kilometer CS1 stage, which ran from Katumani to Kapiti Plains.
The first call he called, it was ahead up there, 700, and he told me triple caution, keep left. The speed I was, I couldn't brake. So I decided, let me keep left and try to save me and my car and my co-driver.
A cutthroat battle was anticipated to spice up the rally thanks to a pulsating power stage that was introduced to offer crews a bonus championship points. According to the Kenya Motorsports Club chairman Jim Kahumbura, the power drive was not for the faint-hearted, given that it was a 9-kilometer sprint running from Wote through to the flying finish at Konza, where the designated spectator stage was located. The third round of the KNRC heads to Kiambu on April 26 to 27th. That story wraps up our bulletin for you this afternoon. Join me at 9 p.m. for our primetime bulletin and a more in-depth analysis on what's happening in the world today. Many thanks for your absolutely scintillating company. I'm Kamene Goro. Do have yourself a lovely day.
Newline Limited, your one-stop shop for elegant and comfortable office furniture. Newline responds to your expectations for office furniture in a modern language. We offer a 5-year warranty period including unit transfers within Nairobi. For more information, visit our showroom at Chester House, Lotus Street, Nairobi. Newline Limited, your success partner.
Floma, professional makeup.
Does your exterior complement your interior? Everyone needs a home that is inspired by nature. At Yenbo Limited, we offer durable, energy efficient and affordable UPVC windows in attractive colors. Visit us at Wall Street Business Park off Mombasa Road. Yenbo UPVC windows, your desire, our challenge.
New Line Limited, we offer current, stylish, state-of-the-art kitchen and wardrobe appliances tailored to suit your preference. We offer unit transfers within Nairobi. Let your kitchen stand out today by visiting us at Chester House, Loiter Street. Your comfort and satisfaction comes first.
Floma, professional makeup.